as QAs. What kind of value do we provide to an organization if not reporting bugs? So, but that's not just the only thing. We also help with other improvements too, but majorly it's helping to discover bugs. And yes, there was a little bit of an assignment that was given last week. So last week we had a review on the test cases, not for everybody, but for a couple of us. And I made mention that we should try to update the test cases with the correction that was made. You could that was made on that call. Also, to try as much as possible to fetch out some bugs we should be discussing about today, because today's class is just about how to report bugs. Fine, you've written your test case, you've done the execution, and you've noticed some errors in the system which are called bugs or defects. So how do you report them? So I don't know if we can have like a show of hands to anyone that made updates to their test cases, and if they're also able to um if they're able to find some defects on the system that we're testing on. Did anyone do that? We have like 10 people on this call and everywhere is really quiet. Today is going to be a very, very, very interactive session. If you think, yes, if you think class was interactive, today is practically going to be way more than that, and it's also going to be interesting. A couple of you guys had reached out to me on LinkedIn, and you guys, and the feedback from the previous class was really amazing. I guess you guys like interactive session, so I had promised that today's class is even going to be way more interactive, and it might be a bit shorter because of time constraint, but we'll see what you can do it with the limited time we have. So please, guys, do try to unmute and just talk, please. So did anyone update their test cases? Is anyone bold enough for us to use their test case for today's presentation? Or did anyone catch any bug? Okay, leave the test case. Did anyone catch any bug? Was there anyone that noticed any bug on the system? Hello, am I audible or am I just talking to myself? Hello.
All right. Hi, Phoenix. I think they want more theory. Maybe they didn't do the assignment, I guess. And then
I
if
can hear you.
more theory, you probably give them more theory and then move on.
Okay, for me, what I did was I used you sent there was an Excel sheet that was sent that you did. So I used it in checking to see what I did and what I didn't do wrong. But to be honest, I did not update my Excel sheet. And when I was doing it, I was trying to using it to enter the orange HRM, and I didn't find any bug because as I was seeing it, I was trying it out and it was actually working. So I don't know.
Okay, okay, okay. That's nice. Thank you. Shine, can see your hands are up. Do you have any comments?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good
So is
afternoon.
it the failed cases that are the bugs?
Yes, yes, they are the failed cases. Yes.
So I was not able to submit my own, but I think for the admin session I had bugs too. One of these was to verify if a user deletion is logged into the admin page. You know when you delete a user, it's supposed to be
Okay.
logged in somewhere that you've deleted a user. You deleted user this from the
Yeah.
user list, but then it was not logged anywhere. So I tested it and it came out failed for me.
Okay. That's nice. You can also send in your test case to that to a link to the link. Goodness, can you share? They have access to where they're going to submit the assignment, right? So you can also submit it. Then maybe
We had
later.
a timeline. We
They,
had a
Okay.
the timeline was exceeded before I was able to.
And there's no
but
way
no
for them
problem. Just
to
because of Phoenix, I can open it up for you and any other person that wants to submit
Thank
immediately
you,
after
ma'am.
this class, and then just 1 hour grace.
Okay. Then I had another field case to verify that a user can search, like an admin can search a user's name. There was no search box to search. If if you have like hundreds of users and then you want to search for a particular user from the admin list, from the users list in the admin dashboard, there is no search box for that.
Okay. That's very good. Those are good. Yeah, those are very nice defects. Kudos for capturing that. So we have another person's hands up. And Jaja, you want to say something?
Yes, good morning. The bugs I found, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, I found a bug. My name is Adoye. The bugs I found is on the forgot password. When you click on the forgot password, it takes you to supply, I think, username, but there's no email where the link to send the password is going to go so that the person can reroute and submit a new password. And that's the bug I found in my own.
Okay. Did you update it on your? I think yes, yeah. I think we reviewed your test case last week. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But did
No,
you
you
update it?
reviewed test plan. My own is test plan. You didn't
Okay,
check
so
my test.
your own was your test plan.
Yes,
Okay.
your test plan. Yes.
Okay, that's fine. Chan, I can see your hands are up again. Do you have another comment?
Yes, I do. So there is one test case I wrote, but then there was no way to test it to
Why?
verify if
Okay,
if I will receive a reset, if I can reset a password.
okay. I think it's also similar to what Adoin just made mention of just now. Okay, so yeah, you are all valid, right? And this orange HRM is just like a dummy website, right? It's not like anybody's building on it currently. So it's just a playground for QAs to test and also automate particular features on. So yes, it won't have all the detailed features that a proper website should have. So definitely there are a lot of bugs and a lot of improvements. You just need to just try to just think deep and know what and like envision what the website should actually have. So yes, let me just share my screen so we can just go on with the presentation. Just give me a second. All right. Just let me know when you can see my screen.
You can see your screen now, and I guess every other person. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's fine. So today's topic is all about defect management and the life cycle of a bug. So what's a defect? A defect is a deviation from the specified requirements, design document, or expected functionality leading to a software failure. So simple terms, defect is things that is falling out of the user from the acceptance criteria given to us by the product owner or product manager. Also, defect can also be, we have different type of defects. We have functional and non-functional defects, right? So functional defects are things that affect basically the logic of an application, like how it should behave. So that's why you hear the common scenario whereby the front end developers and the back end developers are arguing about whose fault the defect is coming from. So it's the job of a QA to identify where this defect is coming from, and you should be able to. That also make that is also one of the things that comprises a detailed defect report, right? So a defect should have, there are some things, there are a couple of fields that a good defect should consist of, like the title, the steps to reproduce the issue, the severity, priority, the test data, and all that. I'm going to show us all that. Don't mind me, I'm just talking a lot. So that's what a defect is. So let's go to the next part. So defect definition, okay, yeah, where defines defects? Then we have bug classification or clarification rather. So sorry, let me just move this guy, it's blocking my view. A bug represents a specific instance of a defect causing a program to produce incorrect results. So when you guys hear bug and when you guys hear defects, does anything comes to your mind? Please, I need someone to speak, or just tell me what you think about these two definitions, bugs and defects. Like, do you think they are different, or do you think they're the same thing? Is anyone hands up? Are we all tired today?
It's looking like the same thing.
Okay, you say okay, yes, okay. This is Olivia, right? So you're saying this is
Yeah,
the same thing.
it's looking like the same thing.
Is it? Is it the same thing? Bugs, defects. We already know a defect is something that falls off of the product design and product requirements. They already know that a bug is also something that is a specific instance of a defect. So yes, they are the same thing. They are the same thing, honestly speaking, but they are defined differently. But feature software wise, they are practically the same thing. You can call it a defect or you can call it a bug. So we'll be talking about root cause analysis. So when you discover a bug on a system, most of the times, and even after the defect has been fixed, right, it's always important to document. Though this is not compulsory, right? It's just a nice to have. There's some instance where, especially for the customer success team, right, they would always ask for a root cause analysis so that they will know what caused this issue. If this was like a flaw on the system side, or it was as a result of what the user has done, maybe the wrong part from the user's own point of view. So someone trying to say something. Okay. Yeah. So a root cause analysis is always very important to have on the system. So what's the next step? Bug life cycle. So when as a QA, when you are testing, during your test execution, there are times when you discover bugs, and each of these your bug you discover have a life cycle. From first of all you raise a ticket, right? You open the bug ticket, you assign it, and you fill all the detailed information of that bug. That is like the steps and the screenshots. So because you also need an evidence to prove that this ticket that you're reporting is actually like it happened on the system. Because software applications can be really tricky at times. There are instances whereby during testing you'll see a bug, right? But when you want to reproduce that particular bug, you're not able to reproduce it for whatever reason. Maybe as a result of, maybe there are some instances whereby like let me think of something, like maybe like a configuration issue, right? Whereby at a particular time, for a culture that uses cron job, to issue out different files at different time, right? Now you could have an issue whereby, okay, a job is meant to send a particular, it's supposed to move a particular file by 2 p.m. from folder A to folder B, but now 1:59 p.m. it triggers that job, which is wrong. And as a result, there's no file in that particular in folder A because it's not yet 2 p.m. So when you try to retest that, you could actually try testing on 2 p.m. on the dot or 2:01. You now notice that that particular scenario is working fine. And you'll be like, but why? And even if you're doing the wrong thing, right? But it should block this, it should block the user. Anything that's not 2 p.m. should like the user should be blocked from even making an attempt. The system should not be able to move such a file, right? So that's why screenshots are always very important. If not, you could raise a bug and you could embarrass yourself, or maybe the system could just be against you at the time when you are trying to explain that defect. And they will ask you, do you have evidence to prove that this thing actually occurred? So that's why it's always very important to use a screenshot. There are multiple sniping tools that can be used. We have light shots, and you can also use your default system and sniping tool. Can also the print and the print keyboard on your Windows laptop. Then for your Mac, you can use your Shift command and 4 or 5, depending on how you want to take the screenshots. Also, for things that requires like a process flow, right? No, maybe not just a screenshot of an error message, but like a process. You also have to record that particular instance, right? So it's always good to always have even MacBook also has its own screen recorder, and Windows too. So you can also use the default screen recorder if you don't want to use any third-party application for that. So you just screen record that particular issue where it occurs, and you save it, and also you also make sure that it's added on that particular ticket as evidence. So the developer that's working on it will know that, okay, this actually occurred, and they will need to run some checks and investigation on the system to debug why this issue occurs and how to fix it. So a bug life cycle have different stages. First is new stage when you notice a bug. So as soon as you notice it, it has the open status. That's when it's open, it means that the developer needs to work on it. So usually when you have a bug with open status, you've assigned it to your developer. So next is your opened and assigned, right? So sorry, first is new stage, right? This is when you notice the bug. So when you're creating your tickets, depend on how the Jira how your Jira board is, or whatever reporting management tool you are using. You could be using Bugzilla. Bugzilla is quite let's say old fashioned, so to say, but most of the companies you would work with will be most likely using Jira. So Jira, depending on how the tables and columns were set, you could have new, you might not even have new, you could also have open, assigned, then fixed, retest, and rejected status. So for a bug to have a rejected status is when you raise a bug, right? And maybe due to knowledge gap, right? Maybe from your own end, you think this is how the system should be, but in reality, it's not meant to work that way, right? So you could raise your defects and your either not the developer, but your superior could review that bug, and they notice that, oh, this is not correct, and they will reject it. So there is no need for the developer to actually go through and investigate what caused the issue, because it's not an issue. It's just as a result of a misunderstanding from the QA's part. Everywhere is quiet today. Is there any question, any comments, anything you want to call out? Anyone? So we're all following, right? All right, that's great. That's great. That's great. So I'm going to show you guys a couple of documents. I'm going to show you how a detailed bug reports, a detailed a detailed defect ticket should look like. I'm also going to show you how a bug report should also look like. So a bug report is basically your reports that the QA would have done once so it's one of so if you remember when we talked about the test summary reports, so let me make sure that even in your test summary report you could also have a bug report that we should detail all the bugs that were raised, the ones that were closed out, and the ones that are still in open, that's still pending, maybe as a result of the low severity and priority of that bug. We can just decide that, okay, since it has a low severity and priority, we can just decide to leave that bug open and we'll work on it on the next sprint. So speaking of severity and priority, yes, let's talk about that. So what does severity means? I got a nudge just now. Don't know if someone. Okay, Kai goodness, you want to.
Yeah, yeah. So I wanted to mention that some of us don't know what sprints and some of the technologies they are using, what they mean. So if you can break it down, like whenever you want to, for example, if you want to say sprints, you can say maybe the next phase of the project, or so that people will really like follow.
Oh, okay. Because everyone was so quiet, so I just assumed that everybody understands what I'm talking. So guys, please try to speak up. Okay, okay. So I think I'm already seeing hands up. Hi, Olivia. Do you have a question?
Yes, you passed 2 slides now.
Yes.
Is that what goodness is talking about?
No. So no, she's not talking about the slides that I passed. Right? She's talking about. I made mention of prints. That is,
Okay.
if you have low priority and low severity bugs, and it's still pending, that you can decide to move on with that open bug, then you come back to maybe I'm just trying to simplify my words now, right?
Mm.
So you move, so you can close out that particular project, then in the next sprint, that is iteration, the next phase of the project, you come back to that opened bug ticket. So because of the low severity and priority of that bug, you will not let that hold you back from completing the project. So yeah, but
Okay. But the 2 slides that you passed now, they're not important, or you don't
uh,
want to talk about them now.
so there's something that you guys can read up about. So it just basically, so these are the yeah. So what did I even plan? Okay, so I'm going to talk about these key attributes of a defect report. So I think I'll be sharing not real, but a sample defect report. Then I'll explain what each field means. Then stakeholders in defect management. Yeah. So you just understand. So these are things that you guys can read up, right? It's very simple and straightforward. You just whose role, like what's each role, who has what each person has to do with for defect management. That's just it. So I just want to go more practical because today is supposed to be a really practical session. So yeah. But if I'm moving too fast, you guys can just always call me back. And if there's anything that I may have skipped that you feel you really want to know, you can just call me back and I'll just briefly talk about it. So before we talk about severity and priority, are there any other question or feedback, or is there anything that I've said that is so confusing? Quiet. I think I should ask questions at this point. Oh, someone has. Oh, okay, yeah.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone.
Good
Is it
afternoon.
possible for a bug to move from low severity to high severity, like after upgrading an app? Let's say, because you just said low severity bugs, we can close the project without, actually solving them. But is it possible, like, for them to become high severity later on, along that project? Is it possible?
Ah, very, very it's not impossible, but very unlikely, right? Because so things we consider low severity are things that would definitely not affect the application in any way. Like maybe it's just maybe things like it's minor things. They're usually non-functional issues, maybe like color or position of a button. Well, yes, because recently a button had led to a high severity just because a button was missing for whatever reason. The users were not able to utilize a particular feature. Although that's so no, it's not like it was not working before now, but maybe as a result of deployment, a button was missing, right? That's a different that's a different topic and talk for another time. Your question now, moving from low severity to high severity, no, it's really unlikely, right? It's really, really, really not impossible, but very much unlikely to happen.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Esther, your hands are up. You have a question?
Yes, yes. So please, can you explain how the bug tracking and management are integrated into the software development lifecycle? Like, at what stages are the bugs usually reported, tracked, and then resolved?
Okay, so sorry to answer your question with a question, but do you know the software testing lifecycle? Can you list it out?
So, so again, software.
Testing lifecycle.
Yeah, now I think I'm confused. What I
Okay,
can remember is the software development lifecycle, something like that.
okay, so there are two, right? I think we discussed that like 2 weeks ago. There's software development lifecycle, there's software testing lifecycle. If you are still confused, you can just go back to those videos and you can research them. But let me just explain at what stage this bug management comes in. It comes during the testing stage, right? The testing stage in the software development lifecycle, and it also occurs during the test execution stage in the software testing lifecycle. Are you satisfied with that answer?
Sorry, sir, come again. You said
So bug reports and defect management comes within the testing stage of software development lifecycle.
okay,
Development,
testing stage
yes.
on software development lifecycle. Okay, that's
Therefore,
the SDLC.
yes. Therefore, STLC
LC.
occurs in test execution. That's when you're executing your test.
Okay, okay, yes, now I understand. One is at the testing stage, one is at the execution stage.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other question?
Sorry, I have a question. I know I should know this, but it's not in my brain right now. Please, what's the difference between testing and execution stage? Because I feel like when you're testing, you're already executing.
So, okay. Now, I wish I could like get a board to write this thing out. So what I'm saying is testing is in software development life cycle, SDLC. You know what? You know the stages that we have in software development life cycle, right? That is requirement gathering, planning,
Design, implementation,
design, exactly.
testing.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's the testing I'm talking about in development life cycle. Now, in testing life cycle, we have. Can someone help me with what we have in testing life cycle?
Testing life cycle. Wow.
Anyone
We
can?
have requirement analysis, we have test planning, we have test case development, we have environment setup, test execution, and then test cycle closure.
Thank you. Thank you very much. They are all correct. So yes, so is that's so not test environment setup, but like test execution, right? That is where we do all these defects management, right? So as you're executing your test cases, you are failing your test case that have failed results, automatically you are creating your defects, right? Because fine, you know that this test case failed, but your test script is for QAs and only those who request for it. The developer will not know that something is wrong with the system until you create a defect ticket for that developer. So once you've created your defect ticket and you've vividly explained what is in that defect, only then would he know that, oh, I have a defect to fix. So it's only when at the point of fixing, once you have fixed it, then you go ahead to retest it. Then once the issue has been closed, you close out that ticket. If it has not been closed, you reopen it again for him to know that, look, you fixed you. I don't know what you did, but whatever you did is not working. Please go and look at it again. So yes, let's just continue. I'm very sure more questions are going to come in, but let's continue. Severity and priority in defect reporting. Severity indicates the impact of a defect on the system functionality and user experience, ranging from critical to cosmetic. So leave critical to cosmetic. They usually just either it's low or high. So there is low, high, medium. That just basically it. You can either use low, high, medium, or you can decide to use it in numbers like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. With 0 meaning low, then 4 meaning high. Then you can know how you rank the rest 1, 2, or 3, right? So 0, like I've given, let me give an example of severity for 0 or low. Low is maybe like you're seeing the way this image is now. It's supposed to be centered, right? Maybe this image is at the far top. That is a very low severity because it's not affecting the system. It's just the position of the image, but it doesn't look nice. So you can give that a low severity. A high severity is when you're working on I always like to use payment system because payment is everybody's always careful with their money, right? Maybe you're trying to transfer a sum of 1,000 naira to an account to your friend, right? And fortunately, that account number there is okay. No, so let me just use Olivia and Shine, right? So Olivia wants to send money to Shine, and Shine account number starts with 1, ends with 9, but Shine is using UBA. Now Olivia used that same account number, but she makes a mistake now. She now uses a different bank. Instead of putting UBA, she puts in Fidelity Bank. Now, what are the odds that another user, let's use Esther. Esther has the same account number with Shine, but Shine has an account number in UBA. Esther has the same account number, but let's use Fidelity Bank now. So at the point of Olivia trying to transfer money to Shine, Olivia imputes the correct account number, but with a wrong bank name, with a wrong bank. Instead of putting UBA, she then decides to put Fidelity. So an error would be that the system will not display Shine name, which that account does not belong to Shine. It actually belongs to who did I say again? Belongs to Esther. Yes, it belongs to Esther. Even if it's the same, both parties are using the same account number. They have the same number but different banks, because that is possible. I actually experienced this same issue recently, but it was not a bug. It's just a little thing that's just a UI fix that they need to look into. That is for PalmPay. So yeah, the system should now. I think someone has it up, but let me just finish. So the system should actually display the correct user name, right? So now, even if Olivia has imputed the correct account number but wrong bank, the system, the whatever bank she's using now should display the correct bank name, so I should know that, oh, this is wrong. So that means that what Olivia should see is Esther's bank account name. Since she's putting the same account number but with Fidelity, she'll know that, oh, this is wrong. I need to go back and check. Then she'll now realize that, oh, I imputed Fidelity Bank instead of UBA. So let me change it to UBA. Then I will now see Shine's name. But if she's still using UBA and she's still seeing Shine's name, that is wrong. I'm sorry, not UBA, Fidelity, and she's still seeing Shine's name, that is wrong, right? That is a very high severity bug. So I heard a nudge. I don't know if someone has. Oh, Okay, Esther, your hands is up. Don't worry, would not make mistake in transferring money to you. But what do you have any comments or question?
Yeah, good afternoon.
You have to know.
I have a comment. I want to say something because when it happened to me, I wasn't being frustrated. So I don't know whether I should place that as severity or priority bug. So
Okay.
I want to talk about this banks now, like OPay, PalmPay, and MoneyPoint that they
Hello?
have like. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So actually, I want to talk about something about MoneyPoint, OPay, PalmPay, all these banks that use phone number to create account number with it. Because something
Yes.
happened to me. I don't know if we should place that. When I say that, then we'll be able to know if it's a priority or I don't know. Because when it happened, I was not doing software testing, so I don't know yet. So, but I want to say it so that I will be sure that what should we place that kind of scenario because I wanted to send money to OPay to an OPay account, but the person used the same phone number for both OPay and PalmPay, and I didn't know. So when I just put in the account number, it brought out the person's name. So I didn't look at this. I didn't really check whether it's OPay or PalmPay. When I saw the name, I just sent the money. When I sent the money, it was like, oh, it's on my farm pay and I'm no longer using it. And I even got upset. I'm like, it's not your phone number. I don't understand. So in that
Oh,
kind of scenario now, is there a priority block situation is, or should we say is the severity? I don't know. Or is there something like that can be done rather because
oh,
they're using the same phone number but different banks, but the phone number is the account number.
I understand what you're talking about. And
Yeah.
so I have a so lovely observation. All right, this is actually exciting, but I have a question to the whole house. Is this a bug? What you just explained, is this a bug? Well, Esther, I will answer you. I will answer you detailedly, but I just want to just use what you just explained to just teach everyone something. So is this a bug? I think Olivia hands is up. So go for it.
No, I don't think it's a bug. It was just like a genuine mistake on Esther's part.
Okay.
Yes, and it can happen to anybody, but it's not a bug.
Correct. It's not a bug, but now for this kind of thing, right? You already have your test cases for this scenario. You can write an improvement, right? Whereby the system should prompt the user that look, this number has accounts with both OP and PalmPay. That's right. Okay, like I use OP a lot to make transfer, right? If you give me your phone number and you have an account with OP or and PalmPay, both of them, and you know that OP and PalmPay, they're like brothers and sisters, as far as I'm concerned. So I input your phone number now, and I want to send to your OP account, right? So OP should just prompt to display that look, this guy has both an OP and a PalmPay account. They'll not be to want to select which of either bank account I want to make the transfer to. So that's where the improvement should come. It should be really visible. So that because anybody can make that kind of mistake, right? Because now I might intend to send to the person's PalmPay accounts and not OP. And if that pop-up is not eye catching or it's not like something that I would easily be aware of, if it's not like so that would drag my attention, right? I wouldn't notice and I'll just go and click on like what happened or like what Esther is, I'll just click on OP instead of PalmPay and I'll transfer the money to the person, which is wrong because that's not what the user wants. So yes, it's not a bug, but there's a need for an improvement. So you can just talk to so in that kind of situation, if you're the tester for PalmPay or OP or whatever, you can just tell them that, oh look, I noticed this and I think that we should have a way to improve. Is that like a pop-up mode that should come so that the user will be prompted that, oh look, I need to be careful what I'm selecting. So yeah. But at least we do understand what severity is or Esther, sorry, are you satisfied with the answer?
Yes, absolutely. Because I actually thought of it not being a bug, but I was like, okay, what could be the solution as a tester, which is what you just said now. Thank
Yes.
you.
Yes, yes, yes. You can just create like an improvement ticket
Yeah.
to let everyone know. Yeah, that's just it. So priority now. Let's move on to priority. So we define severity, and I think we all are okay with severity. So we're moving to priority. Priority defines the urgency with which a defect needs to be resolved, often detected by a business impact and release schedules. So now, how do you prioritize a defect? So let me give instances now, right? Uh, we're testing a bank. Let's okay, since we are using since we're talking about bank, we're testing a bank app, right? And we've listed out a couple of defects now. Now, these defects all have medium severity. Now, we have 5 tickets that have medium severity. The first one speaks to money transfer. Second one speaks to account creation. The third one speaks to funding of accounts, right? And now, these are three very high. These are three like these are three. So it's of okay. I know I said medium severity, but hearing myself out, these are actually high severity issues. Now, the three of them are all high severity issues, but which one I going to prioritize first? Now, mind you, the feature you want to roll out is the feature that speaks to funding. Maybe let's say a bank. I don't want to call any bank name or for anybody to come and get angry with me. So let's say a bank A now wants to implement a feature whereby they want to make transfer um, contactless. That is, you don't need to. All you need to do is just tap your phone against another person's phone, and they'll be able to transfer funds, right? So this is something new, and everybody they know that from the data they have done, right? They know that users are going to be super excited about this feature now, and they really want to roll it out because maybe other banks are also doing this, and they don't want to be left behind. Now, out of these 3 features, which one would and how would you prioritize your defects? So definitely, you know that you want to rule out a feature that involves funding wallets contactlessly, right? So your highest priority is going to go to the defect of unable to fund wallets. So that is where your highest priority is going to go to. So you're going to assign a higher priority to that. To maybe a low priority would be for account creation. Then the mid priority would be to the one of transfer. Because obviously, after you fund your wallet, the next thing you want to do is transfer funds from your wallet to another person's wallet. Even if you want to do it, even if you want to use the contactless method, or you want to use the traditional method of imputing a user's bank account and all that. So that's just basically what priority means. Are there any question about that? Any question? Are we all good with it? All right. Okay, so yeah, these are just the critical. These are just particular examples of critical severity, high severity, and also medium severity, which we've also talked about. So defining priority, what is urgent, what is high, what is low. Hi, Olivia, your hands are up. Do you have a question?
Yes, I was waiting for you to explain the last part in that slide. I wanted to ask what the diagram was about.
This diagram.
Yes.
Okay, it's just the different stages of operating a bug, right?
Okay.
So yeah, so this see right, you can just go take your time and look at it, right? You just talk about like you just giving us different examples and cautious and all that. It's not really, it's just something I just picked up from the internet just to make the
Okay.
slide more presentable. So
Okay.
I'll be sharing this document where you guys can quickly read it.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you have any other question?
Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
All right. I to maybe just leave the chat and take a look at the question. No problem. So I was going to define something. Okay, impact, best practice. No, not gotten here. Yes, defining priority. So defining priority. So what is urgent? Fix immediately to unblock critical operation, e.g., production, server down, impacting all users. So anything that's going to now the instance I spoke to about was when you're still in development stage, right? But imagine we have an issue on production. No matter what, if it's affecting users on production, that will have the highest priority because you can't like now we are using so today we're working in a bank now. The previous classes was e-commerce, so let's use bank for example. Now imagine working with a bank and you hear that overnight or maybe for like the past since 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. users have been unable to make transfer. That's a huge problem because bank make money from things like issuer fee and the acquirer fee, right? So they don't want to miss out on those fees that they're making because every transfer the bank make they also make little money off every transfer and every you and I perform, right? So that's a very, very high priority issue that they would not even care what you are doing. Whatever you are doing, pause it and fix that issue. That's what it means for an urgent priority, right? No matter what you are doing, even if you are working on a sprint, you need to pause that and look into this issue and fix it as soon as possible because the bank is losing money. That is a very urgent priority, right? So as a keyword, you also need to identify what how to how to prioritize your defects. So that is basically it. So this is just the difference between severity and priority. You guys can read this up. Impact resolution, best practice. Okay, let's talk about this. So best practices in defect assignments. So like I said, right, always make sure you have first of all, like to me personally, right, first thing first, your screenshot. Because even if I'm a developer and you assign a defect to me, if I don't see a screenshot, I'll be reluctant to look at it because I'll be like, what if you do? What if you're not sure of what you tested? What if it's actually working? I don't want to come and waste my time to debug an issue whereby it was not really an issue. But if I see a screenshot or a screen recording, I'm like, oh, this is really an issue. And I watch, just look at a screenshot to also help me understand where the issue is coming from. If it's something from from the front end side, or if it's from the back end side. Now, this also help you to know who you're going to assign the issue to the ticket to. Because if it's coming from the back end, so you're going to obviously go to assign it to your back end developer, or if it's an issue with the UI, you assign it to your front end developer. So then proactive communication. So yes, in as much as you've created your bug ticket, you've explained it detailedly, it's all the evidence are there, you've assigned it. You don't just sit back and relax because it's also stalling your testing because you need the developer to quickly fix it and so you can retest and close that out. So it's always not to micromanage anybody, but just give your developer a nudge, right? Just to like ask him, okay, what's up? Are you done with this issue, or what is taking so much time? Because we need to get this done quickly. It's affecting my timeline, right? So that's where proactive communication comes in. Then Google's defect man. So there are a lot of defect management. So you can use Jira. It's not just Google. Maybe you can use a Google Sheet or you can use Jira, depending on what your organization uses, right? So that's just what this is about. Okay, so before we talk about Bugzilla, let me just show you guys where did I keep this? Okay, this is okay. Yes. So this is our defect slash bug template. So it will have an ID. So just the same way our test cases have ID for easy mapping and identification of the test case, the defect will have its own ID. So it will have a title. You can just a brief summary of what the defect is talking about. For this, the manager dashboard is not aligned, adding newly reports type, history, and work completion trend. I think someone mentioned, I think this is similar to what Shine talked about not logging activities of when we delete users or when we delete users or perform actions of the system. So the defect description. So you should always have your steps to produce. Very, very important. Your steps to produce. It will help you because now your steps to produce is basically the steps in your test cases most of the times, right? Depending on how detailed your test case is. So that is why it's very, very important to write detailed test cases. So your steps to produce, then your expected results, right? So this is the expected result that you as a QA you're expecting the system to behave, right? So you expect to see the new report should add and the manager should be able to view it on the dashboard. But in reality, which is the actual results, you're getting an error with the message, no report exists with that name error message shows. So this is the error, right? So from the error message, maybe it's most likely, and maybe I wouldn't know, but let's assume it's an API issue, a backend issue, right? So you're definitely going to assign it to your backend developer. So evidence and attachments. Yeah, you input. Okay, someone. Hi Esther, you have a question?
Okay, yes. This is like the second or third time I hear you saying back end, front end. How do we identify issues that on maybe the front end or back end? How do we know?
How do you identify? How do I answer this now? So, okay. So when testing, right? So like I said, right, the logic of a system is usually handled by the back end, right? So when you're testing, you know that the buttons, okay, imagine this now, right? You are testing a form to fill in, you are trying to create users on an application, right? Now, on the form, you have from your design and from your acceptance criteria, right? Your form should have first name, last name, phone number, email, and address, right? These are the fields that are compulsory. But now, and all these fields are required. But now, when filling the form, for your testing purpose, right, you leave the address empty. So you are expecting an error message, right? Now, when you click on the add user, the system adds the user with an empty address. Now, that kind of thing is a backend issue because the backend developer did not put a validation to prevent users from not adding address. So most of the time, this would have easily been caught when performing API tests, right? So which you guys are also going to learn about that. So when testing your APIs, right, you need to have a lot of negative scenarios. So you know that for adding users, all these fields are compulsory. So you just play around with the system and see what happens when you leave your address field empty. What happens when you leave your first name or your last name field empty? So already the system should throw an error message preventing, maybe like an error message like the address field the address is a required field and should not be empty, something like in that nature, right? So what is expected of the system is even on the UI. Now, the UI could also handle this issue by this making the add button graded out because a field is not imputed. But even as that, right, the system should also like kind of like a two-factor authentication, right? So that yes, the backend is going to block them. The front end is also going to block them from also not adding your address on that particular field. So when you don't add your address, so even if the UI is not preventing it from its own end, which depend on the system design from what's already implemented from the onset, you can let that fly. But what should not let fly is that the backend allowing such kind of thing to happen. Because if the user should leave the address empty and clicks on the add button, already the front end will not have an error message to display that will prevent that user from not adding such a user to the system. So for that, that's how you know that yes, that issue is a front end, no, is a back end issue. And the kind of screenshots you take is you take the screenshot of the success message, right? And if possible, so we have our web developer tools that lets you inspect every. I'm not really supposed to do this, so I'm just going to show you guys. So when you right click on every website, there's an inspect page. So on this inspect page, you can always click on this network tab. So this network tab shows us the list of endpoints that are being called for each of these links, right? So behind every click you do is an endpoint that will be called. So you can also inspect that endpoint and also see how the AP that is responding. But I don't want to go too deep into that. You guys would definitely learn about that. So yes, I think I spoke too much, but did I answer your question? More questions. So okay, Livia.
This isn't actually a question, but like the question that Esther asked, I would assume that during the briefing, like the beginning of the project, once everybody knows what everybody is doing, then I should know that okay, it's the people that did front end that worked on this, and I know that there are people that are meeting with this problem. So that's just how I thought I was going to know who I would direct my questions to, right?
Yes. So
It
even
doesn't
if you
work that way.
so yes, even if you don't know who is working on front end or back end, you need to know where the issue is coming from. Is it a front end issue? Is it a back end issue? So that just and when you perform, okay, when you perform multiple sorry, when you perform like when you investigate the issue further, you now be able to identify where the issue is coming from, whether it's front end or a back end issue. So yeah, and let me just so try to get my train of thought. What was I talking about? Yes, the defects, right? So you add your screenshots, you set your severity, your priority, then these are nice. Okay, yes, this is also nice to have. The module affected, right? So you also specify the module, then the environment. So for ignore this Firefox version, right? It's either going to be staging or dev or UAT environment. So that's what you have there. They're reported by your name, the date it was reported, status, is it new? Is it opened? Is it closed? Or is it is it new, open, or closed? So if it's open, it means that it's currently being looked into and the developer will update it to in progress. Once they've updated it, you'll be able to retest. And once the issue is working fine, you close it. But if the issue is not working fine, you have to reopen it again so they'll know that this is not working. And then who you are going to assign it to. So yeah, that is it about your how to write your defect and the what encompasses of a defect. Do we have any question? Any question? Please ask questions because your assignment is going to be on the defects you observed when testing. So please, guys, just even if it's not on that Orange HRM website, right? I want you guys to just create like a defect. So you can use your the same sheet, right? Just open a new sheet on that same Excel document and just title it defects. So it should have, so you should just have each of these fields, it should be a column, right? So you create it on that Excel sheet and just list out all the defects that you can observe from that system. So question, please. No question.
Okay. Please, I have a question.
All right.
So if we have 100 defects, we are going to do each of these like this for each of the defects.
Yes. But a system that have 100 defects, I mean, the developers are really, really wonderful. But yes, and it's possible. I've seen a system that had 20 defects all because of rush. So it's possible, yeah. Nothing is impossible in software. So you're going to have all of them listed out like this. And you're going to close out only the ones that you feel have been worked on and it's working fine.
Okay, yes, sir. So if we have a low severity defect, we are still going to do it like this, or it's just for high severity?
No, you see it like this. You'll be the one to assign it if it's a low severity or high severity. But in as much whether it's low or not, you are still going to create it, right? For this thing for people to be aware that there's a defect of the system.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right, you're welcome. Any other question from anyone? Okay, hi Esther. What's your question or comment?
No, again, it's not a comment, it's a question. I didn't understand that assignment you just talked about, get the on the orange website question that we did before. We should do. I didn't get that.
So what I'm saying is this, right? Still on that same website that we have all been testing on. I just want you guys to detailedly go through it, and any issue you observe, right, create a defect for it. That's what I'm saying. So your defect should have all these fields. So you open a new, still on that same document. So you don't need to create another Excel document, right? Still on that same document, you just create in different sheets. Let me just show you an example. No, not this. Oh, no, let me just use this. Doesn't matter. So you just click on add, then just call it defect. So then you fill all this column, all this field with what is meant to be here, right? Your defect ID, your defect title. I'll share this this link with you guys. So you just go through it and you just add it in that Excel document. Then I want you guys to fill it up with the title, the steps to reproduce it, the expected results, the actual results, and all that.
So how do you create ID? A defect ID.
So your defect ID, so your first one will be 01. So you can just call it anything, depending on how you want to structure. So defect ID will be up to you.
Okay. Okay, it's just almost like the same thing with the software. Okay.
Now what?
Oh.
So what do you say?
I said the ID is almost like the same thing we did with the first one. The software.
Yes. So the ID, just leave it at. So it all depends on how how you want to do it, right? So you can just call it whatever. Yeah. So it's all up to you how you want to. Just you have your test case ID, just like that.
Yeah. Okay. Can I ask you a question? It's not based on today's topic. It's about the software, the test case rather. You said you were going to give a comment on our drive because, like, I gave you access to my drive. I gave access to my drive. So I've been looking for the comments. That I think that would help us.
Sorry. Real life situation has been holding me back. That's why I've not actually looked at it. But that's why I said that you guys should make updates. But if you've made update, that's fine. I will sync with goodness so that we can see how we can just make some little comments and correction on it. But it's not going to be easy to do all of that. So I just need you guys to really take your time and please try and do a detailed work. Okay, we're all trying to be experienced QA, so let's try to be as detailed as possible.
Okay, thank you.
All right, yeah, you're welcome. Esther, second. I don't know if I should say second Esther, but yes, the other Esther. You have your hand said.
Yeah, so I have a question. I don't know if it's a question, but I've been thinking.
Hello. Am I the only one that's lost her? Was it my network?
No, I think we lost her. It's her network, maybe.
Oh, okay. Okay, so Jaja, you can ask your question.
Yes, good afternoon. I want to ask you, the last class, you know that the last class was held, that's on Sunday. It was a rich class. I've been waiting for that recording for the last class. Sincerely, that's one of the things that made me not to be able to do my own corrections on my own. I don't know if the class will be released, or maybe at this point we don't know. The recordings are not released again. I don't know, because I looked out for it throughout the week.
Okay, I would also reach out to goodness. Are you on the call? Can you also help them with the recording of the previous class?
Do we want to release that? Okay, no problem. We'll see.
So even if it doesn't, you don't post it on that YouTube channel, right? You can just, I don't know if you want to share it with them, like in their own group chats, or I don't know. So you can, we can think later about that.
Not a problem, my boss. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, you're fine. That's fine. So, any other question? Esther, your hands are still up. Do you have any question? Or is that from the previous time you asked your question? Okay, we have Prince. Prince, your hands are up. You have any question?
Yes, so I just want to, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you well.
All right, I want to know who we are going to assign the bugs or the defects to, because I'm seeing that there's an option for, I'm seeing an option where I said, where it's saying assign to.
You can assign it to your best friend or your worst enemy, anybody you want to assign it to.
Okay. All right.
Or preferably, so the same person you assign it to in your test case, you can also assign it to that same person. Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Any other question? Or comment?
So, sir, I have a question. So, after
Okay.
raising these tickets for the test, will
Mhm.
you will you submit only the ticket because you have screenshots evidence now, or you submit the whole document with your test cases, and then after they do it, you now go back to it and edit?
Sorry, can you ask that again?
After raising the defects, you know you're going to raise a couple of defects. Are you going to submit if you're giving it out for them to review? Will you give out the test cases too and the defects, like the two together, or you give out
Okay.
only the
No,
defects
no. So
for
it's
them
only
to
the,
review?
it's just the defect. So ideally, right, you usually create defects on something like Jira, but since we don't have our own Jira, we don't have Jira for this platform, right? So that's why I said we should just create the um defect on that Excel document.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's it. But in real world scenario, it's going to be a real Jira ticket you're going to create that you're assigned to, right? So that's just it.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so this is just for practice. Okay, goodness, you have your answer.
Yes, I just wanted to inform learners that we have the attendance in the message box, so we just fill it out before we leave the class.
Okay. So everyone, the attendance is have been shared. So let's do well to fill up the attendance. Esther, I can still see your hands up. Or is this from the previous times you asked your question? Okay, so this is the last time. Let me just wait for an extra 5 minutes for call this session to an end. Are there any other question from any other person? Oh, okay. Esther, you're back. Yeah, your question. Yes, Esther, you can go ahead. Your question.
So I was asking, I can't even remember. Okay, like when is the tester's job done on a project?
Your job is done when you've deployed. When is the tester's job done? So definitely, so after you're done testing and deployment, you have to do your post-deployment check on the system. So I would say your job is done once the system is working fine on production. That's when your job is done for that feature. But in the reality, there's no job done. Once you are done with that one, there's another feature to start working on immediately. The reward for good work is more work. So okay, another you have to up again or
Yes, because when you were explaining, you said something like, banks waking up one day and their customers not being able to make transfer. So let's say, for example, you've done this project, it's done 6 months ago, and then all the customers woke up today and found out they are unable to make transfer. So this means they'll have to come back to you to work on it because this is a high severity issue.
so for that kind of thing, right? Let's
Mm.
imagine that it was working fine for 6 months, but something
6 months, yeah. Yeah.
So for that, right, your job is to make sure that the bug have been fixed. So you're going to retest and make sure the bug is not available on all the environments. They are going to also push that fix to production.
Okay.
Yeah, so that also be when your job is done. Then once all that fixes on production, it's working fine. Any other question?
Okay, so I have another question.
Okay.
For us to know when the bug is fixed, are they going to send us an email, or we'll just be going to decide to be retesting all the ones who've tested that was negative before?
No. So they'll update the ticket, right? So now, when you create your bug, it has an open status. Now, once they have fixed it, they'll have a fixed status or maybe an in progress status. Once they've moved that, that is when you will now come and retest. So it's not like you'll be retesting every. If not, you'll not. So it's only when they have fixed it. But that's also why I said you can follow up with your developer to know when they have fixed it or not, because they might have fixed it and they might have forgotten to update the defect status. Okay, so yeah, any other question? I think the next class is going to be more automation themed. So I hope you guys enjoyed this manual side of being a QA. The next side is more automation. So you guys are going to see a lot of codes from both API test and UI automation. Nothing to be scared about. You are all going to be fine. Trust. I know we have very intelligent people on this call that will be able to do it all. So this brings us to the end of today's session. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Always feel free to, you can always ask me or anyone any question if you are confused later on. And please try to do your assignments. It's not just for us, but for you guys too. It will help